If I had a secret as to how you could stop yourself from aging badly and actually turn the clock around and feel younger, wouldn't you like to know it? I'm Miranda Esmonde-White, and I'm going to share that secret with you today.
Miranda Esmonde-White is host of the long-running public television fitness show Classical Stretch and author of the book Aging Backwards. Miranda has been training professional athletes since creating her own fitness technique 15 years ago.
As I've aged, and I'm now 78, my body feels like I'm, 60.
People are always commenting on how fit I look, and I say, well, that's because of Miranda.
My whole thing is if you can move and go, then you can get on with life. If you lay in bed and put ice on your back, it doesn't work.
Aging is a natural process that happens to all living things. The human body is designed to age, but it's designed to age slowly, not rapidly. We're designed to stay young well into our senior years. Gentle, regular exercise is all you need to do to keep your body feeling young.
Despite the fact that I am 77 years old, I don't feel it at all. And every place I go, people are surprised at my age. But I have always had a philosophy in life that if you eat well, sleep well, and exercise every day, you have a pretty good chance of feeling young, even at 77.
Because so many people are inactive and lead sedentary lives, they don't use their muscles, and as a result, they age more rapidly than they're designed to do. Most of us accept that as we age, we'll lose muscle mass and strength and suffer from all kinds of aches and pains. The major cause of all these aches and pains is a loss of muscle mass, which is known as muscle atrophy. The reason why muscle mass is so important in keeping us young is that muscles are the part of our body that gives us energy and control our weight. Often, when people see an older person who is fit and active, they assume that person has good genes. All our assumptions about aging are wrong, and it turns out that good genes have very little to do with aging well. Regular exercise is what keeps us young.
I'm 65 now, and I still enjoy running. I still enjoy competitive tennis, and recently won the provincial championship for my age group. A very large part of it is that ability to step on the court with after years of enjoying Miranda's program. And I've learned that I'm able to have the correct body posture, which allows the joints to be more open and let me get to the ball faster and enjoy it more.
What most of us don't realize is that there are switches we can turn on to keep us young, but if we switch them off, we will age rapidly. Those switches are in our muscles.
I've been a practicing physician in both family medicine and emergency medicine for over 25 years. And for successful anti-aging, we need two things: prevention and preservation. Prevention we all know about. Prevention involves healthy nutrition, keeping your weight down, and preventing things like hypertension, cholesterol, and diabetes. Preservation is more difficult. Preservation involves work. What do I mean by work? Work means exercise. We need to exercise to maintain our 3 M's: muscle, muscle mass, and mobility. We need muscles for strength, we need muscle mass to help with bony stability, and we need to be mobile. If you don't have mobility, you can't be independent. You can't make yourself a meal, you can't dress yourself, you can't walk up a flight of stairs, and you can't even get off a toilet seat. If you want to live a long and healthy life, you have to be lean and mobile.
I have a landscape design business, and for 17 years now I have been designing properties, maintaining properties. Of course, doing manual labor, at this point in my life, one has to be strong overall. You have to have strong arms, strong legs, a strong core, and these are all the areas that Miranda addresses on a daily basis. I have lived with knee pain almost my whole life. Just terrible pain that never seemed to get repaired. And in the last 2 years, I can tell you I have no knee pain. And it's all because I do my pliés.
I'm going to show you how this program is designed to use all 620 muscles. Now, as you know, the human body is designed to move, so we need to move all the time. So in any exercise program that's going to use the 620 muscles needs to move. We're not robots. We're not meant to be static. We're meant to move. I made the program low impact to protect the joints and used large body movements to strengthen the full body and increase flexibility. It turned out to be an age-neutral anti-aerobics workout, where in any given class, clients ranged from 18 to 80, all doing the same exercises, but working at their own personal level. I called it classical stretch.
I do practice every morning. It took me time to build it into my day, because when I first started, I think it's like everything. Oh, that sounds wonderful. I think I'm going to try to do that, but you don't quite do it. And so I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to roll out of bed, and I'm going to do my classical stretch for 25 minutes. And it works for me. I mean, I have more flexibility now and strength because of the program. As I've aged, and I'm now 78, my body feels absolutely strong and flexible.
The truth is, the human body is designed to be strong and active well into our senior years. If we stop moving, we trigger the aging process and our muscles start to deteriorate. If we remain active, our muscles will be strong, and that's what keeps the aging process turned off. And that's how we can stay young as we age.
In 2 months, I'll be 82 years old and enjoying it. One thing that it helps to know is that for years and years, I had a lower back problem. It was often aggravated by sitting in a chair behind a desk. And when I started doing regular exercise, especially exercise that covers the whole body, so you don't overdo one part and underdo another part and get misaligned or out of balance. And after a very short time, I would say 4 to 8 weeks, the back problem had disappeared. It has never come back. And I am wedded to doing this thing every single day.
As part of my job, I started researching the subject of aging and learned that there was a scientific reason why I wasn't aging badly. Much to my surprise, it was because I was doing daily full body exercises, something I'd done most of my life. Now I'm 64 and I still feel great, despite the surface signs of aging, but you can't have it all. What I learned, and I'll show you, is that regular exercise has been scientifically proven to keep anyone feeling and looking young despite their chronological age. And that regular exercise can prevent, reverse, and slow down many of the negative signs of aging. So what are the negative signs of aging? Typically, they are poor posture, a loss of energy, generally slowing down, unexpected weight gain, a shift in body shape, chronic aches and pains, osteoporosis, arthritis, poor health, and often the need for hip and knee replacements, and finally, for some people, a loss of independence. In order to understand what's making us age, we have to look at the cells, which are what our bodies are made of, because it's changes in our cells that cause us to age. We're made of tens of trillions of cells: bone cells, nerve cells, skin cells, brain cells, and muscle cells, to name a few. One thing that every cell has in common is the presence of mitochondria, which is the component that gives each cell life. Mitochondria are referred to as the energy-producing factories of our cells, which burn calories to produce energy. Every cell has mitochondria, but the muscle cells house 98% of all the mitochondria in our body. That's because muscles move, and anything that moves needs energy. The mitochondria are also referred to as youth genes because they burn the fuel which gives us energy. And the only way to get energy is to burn the fuel by exercising. When we don't feed the fires of our calorie-burning furnaces, the fires die down and the cells begin to atrophy, and that is when aging begins. Every time we move, we're demanding that calories get burned to give us energy. Exercise is the only way to stop the furnaces from dying out and the muscles from atrophying. Some people think they have to do extreme amounts of exercising to reap the benefits, not realizing that if they just do a little bit, then they'll start to feel more energized. As the cells begin the process of atrophying, the muscles shrink and we begin to notice an overall stiffness, pain in our joints, a lack of energy, our posture slumps, we slow down, and we feel old. Atrophy is a slow process, but once it starts, it gains momentum, making all the negative signs of aging progress rapidly. The most important thing we can do to stay feeling young and stop ourselves from aging is to prevent atrophy. And the only way to do that is by exercising.
So today we're going to be talking specifically about disuse atrophy. And when we talk about atrophy, most people tend to associate it with an elderly population. But nowadays, with the new technology, the video games, the computers, we're seeing it more and more in a younger population. We can break down muscle atrophy into 3 different stages. So in stage 1, if we use someone with poor posture as an example, they're going to be in a rounded forward position. Their head will likely be a little bit forward. But if you ask them to sit up straight, their muscles are able to bring their shoulders back and keep their spine erect. In stage 2 of muscle atrophy, again with the rounded shoulders, the poor posture, that person again is going to be more comfortable in that position. Actively, they will be unable to bring their shoulders back independently, so they're going to require assistance to bring their spine erect. In stage 3 of muscle atrophy, that's when things become permanent. So that person with poor posture is going to be stuck in that position and will be unable to independently or with assistance regain that erect posture. It doesn't mean that that person should not be exercising. Exercise is an important tool to maintain the muscle mass of other muscle groups that can be beneficial to help compensate for the muscles that have already atrophied.
The good news is, the first and second stages of atrophy are very reversible as long as you exercise on a regular basis. However, if you don't exercise, any atrophy you have will rapidly get worse. Atrophy can happen at any age, so don't think because you're young, you're safe from it. Lots of young people suffer from atrophy.
A few years ago, I never could have imagined I'd be dealing with something called atrophy. I thought it was something that would develop over the course of decades, really decades of not moving at all. But it happened for me over the course of a few months. When I was 15, I injured my knee, and slowly but surely, the muscle mass around the knee and then up into the thigh and the hip disappeared. So the muscles just shrunk away, and my leg looked very skinny compared to the other one. And I was a really active person. Sedentary life wasn't something I was familiar with. I was in a pre-professional dance program. And overnight, my muscles went from being very developed and flexible to non-existent. I finally saw an osteopath about 5 years after the accident, and he said to me that if I didn't do something about it, by age 30 I wouldn't be able to walk and I'd probably be needing a cane or a wheelchair. So I was pretty inspired to fix this problem, but I didn't have any resources. Everything I tried hurt. So when I tried Miranda's technique and it did work and the pain disappeared, I was amazed.
As our muscles atrophy and die, we feel weaker and less energetic. Our posture slumps, we start to experience chronic pain and fatigue, and the shape of our body changes. Our hips and stomachs expand, our legs and arms shrink, and most of all, we feel old. Atrophy is one of the major causes of aging, but straight-out cell death is the other. Here's how straight-out cell death happens. Our lives begin as a sperm and an egg, and the cells multiply, and we become a fetus, and the cells continue to multiply, and we become a baby, and then an infant, and a teenager, and finally a full-grown adult, where the process of cell multiplication stops, and that's when a new process of repair and replace takes over. Roughly between the age of 20 and 40, the human body stabilizes. Dead and damaged cells are automatically repaired and replaced. Around the age of 40, the process of repair and replace slowly stops and the process of aging slowly begins. After age 40 is when we have to make a serious decision, because that's when the dying process begins. That's the age when the master control no longer automatically repairs and replaces dead cells, and it lets them die if they're not being used. If we're active and use our muscles, we prove to the master control that we do in fact need those cells, and so the master control overrides the message to let die with a message to repair and replace. If we are sedentary, the master control sees that we don't need our muscles, and so it stops repairing them, which leads to atrophy and rapid aging. What I'm saying here is, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Mankind has always believed that cell loss and muscle decay were an automatic and inevitable part of aging. But in 2011, the University of Pittsburgh did a study on 2,000 people aged 40 to 80 that refutes all our preconceptions about aging. It's been assumed that we automatically lose muscle mass as a result of aging. They showed that loss of muscle mass has nothing to do with aging, but everything to do with a lack of movement. They showed that a 70-year-old active man could have the same or more muscle mass than an active 40-year-old, and that the real cause of loss of muscles is a lack of movement. Now take a look at this pyramid. It's a well-documented fact that we lose an average of 7% to 8% of our cells every decade. The pyramid that you're looking at compares the cell loss of an average person to that of an active person. This pyramid reflects the muscle loss of average people who do some activity like walking, housework, gardening, a bit of sports, but not on a regular basis. It doesn't reflect the millions of totally sedentary people. Those people would experience an even more extreme cell loss than the average person shown here. Scientists agree that an average person who does the minimum recommended amount of exercise would lose about 7% of their cells every decade, starting at age 20. You can see here that by the time that person reaches 60, they would have lost 25% of their cells. This means that they would have trouble controlling their weight, they'd be feeling chronically exhausted, suffering from joint pain, have digestive issues, and experience a shift in the shape of their body. The really encouraging thing is that an active person will lose about 2% a decade, which means that by the time they're 60, they would have lost only about 8% of their cells. They will probably notice a minor change in their energy levels, their weight, and their body shape.
I have
been involved in physical activity most of my adult life. At the age of 54, I'll be 55 in a few months. I feel very proud of the fact that I do have good posture, that when I have aches and pains, as we all do as we age, the key for me is getting back to regular exercising of all forms. Even the Journal for the American Medical Association says that the #1 predictor of heart disease is not what you eat, is not whether or not you smoke. It's whether or not you exercise on a regular basis.
You can see how important it is to remain active if you want to feel and look young all your life. I'm going to take a short break here, and when I get back, I'll show you how you can look as if you've lost 10 pounds and 10 years in just 10 seconds. So don't go away, I'll see you after the break. I bet you're all wondering how you can appear 10 pounds lighter and 10 years younger in a matter of seconds. The trick is simple. Good posture. When you have poor posture, your body shrinks so everything between your shoulders and stomachs gets squished and makes you look fatter than you are. Good posture makes you look thinner. And when you have poor posture, your head drops forward, making you look weak and tired and old. On the other hand, good posture makes you look stronger and more confident. Besides appearance, why the big fuss about posture? It's important because our posture directly affects our health.
I find that classical stretch has been the most powerful form of exercise for me in terms of reversing the aging process. Lots of programs are helpful for strengthening, but to strengthen while we lengthen a muscle has made all the difference for me in terms of improving my posture. I thought I had really good posture. I've been teaching yoga for 15 years, and yet I've learned things about my posture that have made a big difference, not only in my appearance, which is important to all of us, but also in how I feel.
Good posture has a positive effect on every aspect of our health because all our vital organs, with the exception of the brain, are housed inside our torso and need space to function efficiently. Good posture makes us healthier by allowing the lungs, the liver, the kidneys, the stomach, and the intestines sufficient space to function properly. When the spine collapses due to poor posture, organs get crushed, and anything that gets crushed can't function well, leaving us with less energy and a feeling of low-grade illness.
I'm reasonably tall, almost 6'2". Over the years though, like everybody else, I shrank a little bit. And I suddenly realized as I was walking down the street that I was looking people almost in the eye when I used to see over the tops of their heads and get to view the whole wide world around me. With this program, all of a sudden, I'm seeing over their heads again.
The spine is designed in a double S curve with 33 wedge-shaped discs. Each vertebra has a tiny little movement, and the combined movement of all 33 vertebrae makes the spine able to shrink and stretch like an accordion. So in order to pull the spine straight and maintain good posture all day long, we need strong, flexible muscles so that they can effortlessly hold our spine upright. If the muscles are too tight, they'll pull the spine down and prevent us from even being able to stand up straight in the first place. Muscles are designed to be strong and flexible. They're designed to be capable of easily holding us upright and keeping us mobile all day long. But with a lack of spine exercise, we let them become weak. And in case you're wondering, walking is not a spine exercise. The human body is made of 620 muscles, and we obviously need them all. When one muscle is weak, damaged, or atrophied, it indirectly affects the entire body. So we need to exercise every muscle to prevent them from atrophying and from damaging the rest of the body. The best way to understand how interconnected our muscles are is to try this little exercise along with these people in Colorado. So all of you at home who are watching, stand up and try this. So let's just stand up, and I want to talk about our feet. So I want you to imagine that your ankles are stiff and they don't move at all, okay? So just squeeze your ankles so that they don't move. And now I want you to start moving around. Just walk a little bit. So just walk around the room with tight, tight ankles, okay? Okay, you feel that? Okay, you're all walking around with tight, tight ankles? Okay, so now walk with your tight ankles back to your chairs, okay? So here we go. Now, isn't that what old looks like? Yeah. Isn't that, okay, you can sit down. So, tight ankles looks like what old walking, okay? Right? Doesn't that look like old walking? So I made you be really tight. What I wanted you to feel was how one group of muscles affects all other groups. As we age, two of the most common bone conditions are osteoporosis and arthritis. Arthritis is the grinding down of the joints, and osteoporosis is the disintegration of the actual bone. The number one way to prevent and reverse these conditions is regular exercise. When someone gets diagnosed with osteoporosis, they're instructed to do weight-bearing exercises, which leads people to believe that they have to lift weights or do exercises using weights. But have you ever tried lifting a full-grown adult or even a child? The human body weighs a significant amount, and there's no necessity to lift more weight than we already carry. Imagine lifting a watermelon. Now consider the fact that your own arm weighs approximately the same as that. Just lifting your arm and doing proper arm exercises will be enough weight to work your arm and shoulder muscles.
I am pushing 80. I am a young 78-year-old. And I have to say, I guess I give a lot of that credit to classical stretch. I have arthritis. I have arthritis in my hands, in my fingers, in my feet, and my hands now are stronger than they have ever been. And I work in the world of art. I curate quilt exhibitions, and I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I want to continue to do it. And I can, because my hands and my fingers are so strong. I can handle the quilts, I can hang them, I have full body reach. I can hang them on the walls, I can take them down, I can pack them, send them off, open packages, and I can actually unscrew lids on jars. So I'm really just so grateful.
Okay, now get your hands out. Okay, so now I want you to put your hand on the other arm. Okay, right here, okay? And do this. What do you feel happening? This is all working, right? Okay, so all this part is working these things. See, your fingers are like a little marionette controlled by these muscles up here. Now, one of the things that happens as we age is arthritis. So many people have arthritis in their hands. So we don't want any shrinkage to happen here. So do this again and feel that when you move your fingers, you're moving these muscles. But if you don't move your fingers, these muscles don't do much work. So what happens when you don't do much? Atrophy, yeah. If you don't use it, you will lose it.
I do exercise a lot. You get your blood moving, and that starts everything else, and your muscles moving, everything moving, and deep breathing along with it, stretching, getting all, really, you tend, as you grow older, you tend to go like this. And she has you going like this. It's just wonderful. But this exercise stimulates your body and keeps everything in balance. I can kick now in balance. And it's wonderful.
When I realized how important it was to work every muscle in the body, I consciously designed workouts to engage all 620 muscles. Engaging our muscles means moving them. Think about this. Everything about our body is designed to move, from our muscles to our joints to our arms and our legs. I realized that humans were designed to move, and I made constant movement the main focus of the workouts. It became clear to me that atrophy prevention was the #1 objective. My challenge was to make exercises that were easy enough for anybody to be able to do and that people could relate to immediately. I sought to create gentle, twisting, turning exercises that never stop moving, because movement is what prevents atrophy. That's why classical stretch is an anti-aging program, because it prevents and reverses atrophy.
What classical stretch offers that differentiates it from other exercise programs is a full body approach that is accessible to everyone: elderly, youth, people with injuries, people without injuries. It maximizes your body's muscular potential and eliminates the risk of unnecessary muscle atrophy, as well as reducing the risk of diseases associated with a sedentary lifestyle. You don't need to be squatting 100 pounds to be considered fit. Classical stretch offers a therapeutic approach that's sustainable for any population.
This is called going through the muscle chains. We're going from the foot right through your back. You're going to feel your back muscles working right up, and then once your arm gets above your head, you're going to feel the abdominal muscles working. You're going to feel right through your sides, and then you're going to feel the pectorals. So this is how, in this program, we work all 620 muscles doing everyday tight movements, increasing the flexibility and the strength at the same time. The logical place for anyone to turn to when they want to exercise is the fitness industry. But the truth is that the fitness industry is failing us when it comes to keeping our bodies pain and injury free. Most fitness programs, like aerobics classes and strengthening equipment, compress the joints with their high impact moves and excessive strengthening. So do activities like running, tennis, and skiing. This causes premature wear and tear on the joints, so that by the time people reach their 40s and 50s, many have dropped out due to pain or injuries from joint compression. Now, there's a solution to this problem. People need to start doing an equal amount of decompression exercises to counteract the damage that compression exercises cause. This way, they'll be able to do their favorite sports or workouts well into their 70s and 80s. No one should be forced to stop doing the activities of their choice. It just means that you also have to do decompressing exercises so that you can continue being active well into your senior years. At 64, when I attend fitness conventions, I look like a dinosaur. It makes me so sad to see that my peers are incapable of teaching anymore because they're in too much pain. I've been doing them for 20 years, and I'm certainly not ready to throw in the towel. I know that I can keep teaching well into my 70s and 80s because I know how to protect my joints. You might find it disingenuous of me to be so critical of the industry that I'm part of and that I love, but the truth is, the fitness industry is in its infancy, and like anything young, it's still going through growing pains. As I've shown you very clearly, we desperately need to exercise, but we need to do it safely, and we can do it safely. Despite the fact that there are many flaws in the fitness industry, at the end of the day, any exercise is better than none.
Hi, I'm Jan Kanemoto, and I'm 64, and this is my second year of doing this fitness retreat. And I actually have been involved in a lot of different fitness programs and fitness my whole life. I've done running until my knees gave way, And I still do a bit of weightlifting and cardio. But I will have to say, for the last 4.5 years, I've really been dedicated to a stretching and classical stretch in particular, and it's raised my fitness level a lot higher. It has toned me, it's helped my flexibility, it's helped my posture, and it's definitely helped my balance, which I think is really important as we get older.
Another place many people turn to solve their aging problems is the medical profession. Many of us who are aging have the wrong idea of the role that doctors are supposed to play in keeping us young. We can't rely on doctors to solve our aging problems, nor should we. Sure, they can remove our fat with liposuction. They can lift our sagging skin with nips and tucks and mask our chronic pain with medication. But what they can't do is to prevent atrophy and keep us fit and agile. Doctors can't give us good posture. Doctors can't give us energy and control our weight. Doctors can't prevent atrophy. Exercise alone can do that. Doctors are supposed to cure our diseases and heal broken bones and burns. Doctors are not there for the daily upkeep of our lives. We're responsible for the daily upkeep. When we go to the dentist, we don't expect them to brush our teeth every day. We know that we have to do that job ourselves. When we buy a car, we don't expect the dealer to fill it up with gas and keep it clean. That's our job. We've been told over and over again that to stay healthy and strong, we have to exercise on a regular basis, and it's time to listen. If we don't exercise, our muscles will weaken and atrophy, causing weight problems and making us feel old, tired, and unhealthy. The point is that there's no pill or surgery that a doctor can prescribe to make us feel fit and strong. We can only achieve that with exercise.
About 12 years ago, I was diagnosed. I had severe back pain. I couldn't figure out why, and a lot of it was an inability to move without just wrenching, gripping nerve pain on my spine. To make a long story short, they diagnosed it, took pictures of my spine, and when you take a picture of a spine and you look at each little disc, it's supposed to look like a marshmallow. Well, there were a few of mine that were just hairline little areas that didn't even have a disc at all. And that's when the neurosurgeon informed me that this body has this thing called degenerative disc disease, and that my spine will continue to deteriorate over the years, and that I should plan on having surgery every 2 to 3 years. And I was appalled at that, and I said, I really am surgery adverse. I want to try everything I can, which I did for about 1.5 years after that diagnosis, including physical therapy, including massage, including more and more strenuous exercise. And it got to the point where my body shut down, I blacked out, and I said, okay, I have to do the surgery, I have to do something different here. So I did the surgery, and after that, I knew I had to have a new rehabilitation program. And so I started watching the PBS specials and started doing the classical stretch when I could. Since that, I've become religious about doing this exercise and this type of program, and I've been doing it since that, and it's been over 10 years since I've had the surgery. And the back pain relief workout was something that I just did regularly, because my whole thing is if you can move and go, then you can get on with life. If you lay in bed and put ice on your back, it doesn't work.
The power of life is found in every cell of the body. The power of life does not yield easily to death. Life fights for every second of existence. Life is a powerful force, and we all have that force coursing through our veins. All life needs is the smallest incentive, and it will fight to stay alive. We can be strong if we choose to be strong. We can be energetic if we choose to be energetic. We can be independent if we choose to be independent. And if we choose all of the above, then we must choose to move. We must choose to exercise. Thank you.
You'll be sorry if you're not